widower Andre has given an interview to mark the anniversary of his death, explaining that he's choosing to spend the day itself in New Zealand because he wants to be as far away as possible from where Paul died, their home in Kent. Now, sometimes you can plan how to deal with grief on a certain day, like an anniversary of when they passed, but it can also creep up on you at other times, can't it, Judy?
Yeah, definitely. I think, you know, losing my mum and my dad, I think it's the moments for me, especially with my mum, when I achieve things, like when, you know, I achieve things that I've wished for, prayed for, worked hard for, and you think to yourself in that moment, I wish my mum was here so she could, like, reap the benefits from them, you know, just spoil her and let her see where all her hard work went into. Because sometimes it's not about whether they sent you to a particular school or whether, you know, they came with you to interview. It's about those little things, being there, making a meal from you, supporting you. So I think those moments, you know, like now we're up for the BAFTAs, I'm like, oh, my gosh, my mum would be at the front with a big hat. She would look like the BAFTA itself. And you just think, I know she's here with me and watching it, but I just wish I could, you know, let her reap the rewards. But I know, for me, what gives me that bit of peace of mind is that, especially my mum coming over, you know, in the Windrush, and that her whole aim for her children was to make sure that we'd be able to live different and better than how she did. And I think as long as I keep that in my mind and keep focused, each work that I do and you know, hard work I do, I know she's resting in peace.
Yeah.
And I know you're a very spiritual person. Do you believe that she's watching over you now?
Oh, I definitely believe she's watching over me. I hope Mummy's not watching over me in the evening when I'm doing things that you would want to do. But, yeah, I think she's definitely watching over me. Some of you don't know what I'm talking about. Yeah, she's definitely watching over me. There's many things that has happened in life. I remember one time when she passed away and things was really, really tight and we needed some documentation about something and I was really depressed and I opened a drawer and her bus pass with her picture that I hadn't seen for, like, 6 months, it dropped out and there was, like, £50 in there. I was like, oh, my God, Mum, you're always watching over me.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I definitely believe she's right there.
Yeah. I think there are moments... I think there's one particular moment where I think the grief was really overwhelming for me when my mum was concerned, and that was when I first got pregnant with Alfie. And I was fine about it. I found out I was pregnant. I took the test and I was completely fine. There she is. I was completely fine with it, but there was a moment when I started showing and I was in the bath and I was looking at this little bump in my belly, and then it suddenly hit me that I was going to have to learn how to be a mother when I was motherless.
And you were a mother to your brothers and sisters.
Yeah, and I was a mum to my brother and sister, but it was like, you know, she taught me how to do that part of it, but I didn't know how to mother a newborn, how to do any of that stuff. And it suddenly hit me that the one person I wanted and needed to help guide me through this really massive moment in my life wasn't there.
In that moment, did you feel like you now that you become a mum, you've connected more with that love that you had for your mum?
Yeah, and I think that's the thing that I was most afraid of, and that's exactly what happened. And when I was in the bath, and that's the one moment since she died where I completely lost it, and I just cried and cried and cried, and I couldn't stop, because grief sort of presents itself when you least expect it. And when I gave birth to Alfie, it's that realisation that your mum is the only person that you're physically connected to. Because we come from our mums, you know? So there were so many women, wonderful women in my life who sort of wanted to not replace but be that missing part. And I think I pushed them away because the reality is no one knows me like my mum. So if I needed help, my mum would just know. If I was upset, my mum would just know, because we're connected to them from inside. We're connected. And as much as they wanted to help, for me, it was a bit like, I need to know how to do this by myself. And as hard as that is, I have no choice. And, you know, I'm not ashamed to say I would feel jealous of those who had kids and who did have their mums, because it... Sorry.
Don't be silly.
I'm sorry, I'm breaking up.
Because it's... I would feel jealous, because their mums knew when they needed them. And I knew when I needed my mum and she wasn't there.
But she was there because she was watching over you.
Yeah, and I'm sure she will also be telling me off for things that I shouldn't be doing.
Yeah. At night time.
Way up there. And sometimes daytime.
But I hear you about that bit.
It's those moments, and I don't think I expected it. And even just now, I don't expect to still get upset about that stuff, but I don't think you ever... It doesn't. And you know that.
Yeah, I do. I lost my mum probably about 12 years ago, and what I find really difficult is when something really lovely happens in your life. Like when I had a second grandchild, my mum wasn't there to see that. She loved her grandchildren more than she loved us three, me, Tina and Debbie. She was obsessed with them, and I'm very proud of us all as well, you know. Like, and she'd say to everyone, you know, my daughter's Linda Robson, and now my son's in the music industry, she'll be dropping his name as well. So it's when the nice things happen that you think you would love to have shared them with your family and you don't get to. But and it's Christmas and it's New Year and it's all them times when you'd be celebrating with your parents or whatever and you can't see them anymore. But the same as you, my mum will always be there watching over us. Yeah, and I think getting upset and still feeling that grief from a loved one just shows how much they were loved. Yeah. And I think that's something that we can all take away. Anyway. Oh, dear. Finally.